Anyway, now, Christmas formalities over. Let's get down to business. Specifically, the business of the Democrats' problems with China, the totalitarian Chinese Communist Party, and which go well beyond whatever issues there may be with Hunter Biden and the laptop and 10% for the big guy that Rita was walking us through a little while ago. And by the way, the Democrats seem very determined to cover these things up. This week, online news outlet Axios broke a major story of how a suspected Chinese spy known as Christine Fang, or Fang Fang, infiltrated American power networks, inveigling herself into the office of Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, and it is suspected his bed as well, though Swalwell won't answer that question, saying that, quote, it's classified. Sure, Eric, I believe you. Millions wouldn't. Anyway, FBI officials believe that Fang Fang's work, which also allegedly saw her in sexual relationships with a number of politicians and local mayors, all of the Democrat persuasion, is part of a much broader influence campaign by China. But curiously, House Republicans serving on the Intelligence Committee, which is supposed to know about these things, were not told about Swalwell's being compromised by the FBI, which was investigating him. And Democrat Nancy Pelosi told reporters when the story broke, well, quote, I don't have any concerns about Mr. Swalwell. Indeed. What is really remarkable, though, is how long this has been going on, this Chinese influence campaign and their close relationship with the Democrats, and how little interest there is in China's attempt to influence and suborn Democrat politicians among the same people who for 4 years were ready to scream, Russia, 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 and peddle fake conspiracies at the drop of a hat when Republicans were involved. And they go silent when the attention is now on the Democrats and their tight ties to Beijing. I mean, look at it. Way back in 1998, Bill Clinton's buddy Charlie Tree was indicted as part of a scam that saw Chinese nationals donate illegally to the Clinton campaign. Prominent Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein is thought to have had a Chinese spy in her office for 20 years. And we all saw how billionaire Democrat Mike Bloomberg appeared to be compromised in so many ways by his ties to China during his abortive billion-dollar campaign for the presidency. So what's going on here? Well, let's hear from Professor Di Dongsheng, Vice Dean of the School of International Relations at Renmin University in China, who made a speech last November which may lend a clue. Have a look.
现在我们看到拜登上台了，传统的精英、政治精英啊，这个建制派，他们跟华尔街的关系是非常密切的。所以大家看到吧，拜登的儿子被特朗普说你在全球有什么基金公司，发现没有？谁帮他建的基金公司啊？明白吗？
Now, in case you missed the subtitles or your Mandarin's a bit rusty, Professor D said that traditionally China used Wall Street to help influence American politics in a friendly direction to Beijing. He said that Trump was not really subject to their influence because Wall Street didn't own him, and now that Biden is in, things will once again change. He even mentioned Hunter Biden and his foundations. To quote further from D, he said, quote, why did China and the U.S. used to be able to settle all kinds of issues between 1992 and 2016? We fixed everything in 2 months. What is the reason? I'm going to throw out something maybe a little bit explosive here. It's just because we have people at the top. We have our old friends who are at the top of America's core inner circle of power and influence. And now those old friends are back in charge.